Have you noticed that your memory does not feel quite as sharp as it used to? Maybe you are forgetting names more often, or you find yourself feeling mentally checked out during family dinners even though you genuinely wanted to be present. You sit there and the conversation is happening around you, but somewhere between hearing it and actually processing it, things just seem to slip away. A lot of people in this situation immediately jump to the worst fear, which is dementia. And that fear is completely understandable given how common it is. Dementia currently affects over 55 million people worldwide, and the numbers grow every year as populations age. So it makes sense that when your memory starts feeling unreliable, your mind goes there first. But here is what recent research is starting to show us, and this is genuinely worth knowing. A growing number of scientists and clinicians studying this area in 2026 are finding that for many people, what feels like a memory problem is actually the brain being starved of clear sound. It's not dementia or inevitable decline, but something much more specific and much more addressable. What many people are actually experiencing is listening fatigue. And understanding the difference between the two changes everything about how you respond to it. Here is something most people never think about. Hearing is not really something your ears do on their own. Your ears collect the sound, but it is actually your brain that does the work of processing it, making sense of it, and turning it into meaning. The part of your brain responsible for this is called the auditory cortex, and like any other part of the brain, it needs regular stimulation to stay sharp. When the sounds coming in are muffled or incomplete, specifically when those high-pitched consonant sounds like S, T, F, and SH start disappearing, the auditory cortex stops receiving the full signal it needs. Over time, reduced stimulation to any area of the brain can lead to what researchers describe as cortical thinning, meaning that part of the brain gradually becomes less active and less efficient from simple lack of use. On top of that, when the signal coming in is weak or incomplete, your brain does not just give up and move on. It works overtime trying to fill in the gaps, decode the muffled words, and piece together what was said from context alone. All of that extra effort pulls cognitive resources away from other functions, including memory. So the reason things feel foggy is not necessarily that your memory is failing. It is that your brain has spent all its energy just trying to hear, and there is nothing left over to actually store what was said. Now here is the part that should genuinely feel encouraging rather than alarming. Researchers have been studying the relationship between hearing clarity and cognitive health for years. And a significant finding that has come out of this work is that addressing mild to moderate hearing clarity issues may reduce the risk of cognitive decline by up to 1/3. That is a meaningful number, and it reframes the whole conversation around hearing in a really important way. Think about it the same way you think about taking a daily vitamin. You do not take a vitamin because you are already sick and trying to fix something. You take it as a proactive step to keep your body functioning well over time. Addressing your hearing clarity works the same way. It is not about treating a disease or solving a crisis. It is about keeping your brain consistently fed with the clear, complete sound it needs to stay active and engaged as you get older. Small, consistent inputs make a real difference over the long run. There is one sign in particular that often gets overlooked, and it is worth spending a moment on. Have you started avoiding social gatherings because following the conversation feels like too much work? Maybe a noisy family dinner or a birthday party feels more exhausting than enjoyable, so you find reasons to stay home instead. It is easy to frame this as just preferring a quieter life, but the research tells a different story. Social engagement and conversation are actually among the most powerful forms of stimulation for an aging brain. Following the back and forth of a dinner table conversation, laughing at a joke, keeping up with a story someone is telling, all of that is genuinely good exercise for your brain. When hearing clarity issues push you away from those situations, your brain loses some of its most valuable daily nourishment. And that withdrawal, more than almost anything else, is what tends to accelerate cognitive sluggishness over time. Staying in the conversation is not just good for your mood, it is genuinely good for your brain. Here are 2 quick things you can try today to get a better sense of where your hearing clarity currently stands. While these aren't clinically tested, they give a direction understanding what could possibly be wrong actually. The first one is the nature check. Step outside and just listen for a moment. Can you hear the high-pitched chirping of birds or the soft rustle of leaves in a breeze? These are upper range sounds, and they are exactly the kind of detail your auditory cortex relies on for its daily stimulation. If those sounds feel faint or absent, it is a gentle signal that your brain may not be getting the full acoustic picture it needs. The second check is the finger rub test. Hold your thumb and index finger about 6 inches from your ear and rub them together gently. You should hear a soft, crisp little sizzle. If that sound is dull or barely there, your ears are likely missing high-frequency detail, which means your brain has been running in what you could call low data mode, working harder than it should have to just to process everyday sound. The brain does not slow down on its own without a reason, and if the reason turns out to be something as specific as a clarity gap rather than aging itself, that is actually good news because it means there is something concrete you can do about it. If this has matched what you've been experiencing at family dinners or on phone calls, head to the description. I've linked HearDirect Club's Nova there, built for everyday clarity without the clinic runaround or the price tags most people expect. And if you decide to try it, use code YT10 for 10% off. And if you want more simple practical guides like this, subscribe. We're posting them regularly. See you soon.